Welcome to our channel. Today, we discuss a topic that could completely redefine the way humanity fights climate change, why 2060's carbon capture technology could potentially reverse the effects of global warming and reshape the future of our planet. Now, when we talk about carbon capture, most people think of the methods being used today, giant machines that suck carbon dioxide out of the air or massive storage projects where carbon is buried underground. But the technology we're imagining for 2060 goes far beyond anything currently in operation. It's not just about slowing the rate of emissions, it's about actively removing the carbon already in our atmosphere at a scale that could genuinely start reversing climate change. To understand why this is so groundbreaking, let's take a quick look back. Over the past century, human activity has pumped trillions of tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Fossil fuels, deforestation, industrial processes, and agriculture have all contributed to what scientists call a climate crisis. Today, we're already seeing the consequences: rising sea levels, extreme weather events, shrinking ice caps, and unprecedented wildfires. Despite global efforts to reduce emissions, the truth is that cutting emissions alone is not enough. We need to remove the excess carbon that's already warming the planet. This is where next-generation carbon capture comes in. Imagine technology so advanced that it doesn't just pull CO2 from the air inefficiently or in small amounts. By 2060, we could see systems that operate on a planetary scale, absorbing billions of tons of carbon each year. These machines would use a combination of advanced chemistry, nanotechnology, and AI-driven environmental monitoring to optimize every square inch of operation. In essence, they could act like a planetary-scale sponge, drawing carbon down from the atmosphere at rates that were once considered science fiction. One of the breakthroughs that could make this possible involves what researchers are calling direct air capture 2.0. Unlike first-generation DAC machines that require massive amounts of energy and space, the 2060 models are designed to be self-sustaining. They might use sunlight to power the capture process, or they could harness natural chemical reactions that transform CO2 into solid carbonates or other stable materials that can be safely stored or even reused. Some designs even envision machines that mimic natural processes like photosynthesis but far more efficiently, converting carbon into useful materials like construction components or even carbon-neutral fuels. But technology alone isn't enough. For these systems to reverse climate change, they would need to be deployed globally and integrated into the way we produce energy, build infrastructure, and manage ecosystems. Picture networks of carbon capture plants distributed across cities, deserts, and oceans, all connected through AI that predicts where emissions are highest and adjusts operations in real time. The oceans themselves could host floating carbon collectors that absorb CO2 directly from seawater, helping to mitigate ocean acidification while simultaneously tackling atmospheric carbon levels. The implications of achieving this scale are staggering. By removing billions of tons of carbon annually, we could potentially start lowering global average temperatures rather than merely slowing their rise. Sea levels could stabilize, ice sheets could recover, and extreme weather events could become less frequent and less severe. In effect, carbon capture at this scale could give humanity a second chance, a way to heal the planet rather than just survive it. Of course, there are challenges. Even with futuristic technology, we have to consider costs, resource allocation, and environmental impacts. Building planetary-scale machines would require vast amounts of materials, energy, and infrastructure. There's also the risk of relying too heavily on technological solutions and neglecting the need to reduce emissions at the source. Experts emphasize that the ideal approach combines aggressive carbon reduction strategies with advanced capture technology, ensuring we don't just put a band-aid on the problem but address it comprehensively. Another exciting aspect of 2060's carbon capture tech is its potential for integration with nature. Scientists are exploring hybrid systems that combine engineered capture with natural ecosystems. For example, forests and soil can be enhanced with technology that accelerates their carbon absorption, creating living carbon sinks. Imagine forests that are not only biodiverse and beautiful but are also supercharged to pull carbon from the air at unprecedented rates. Even agricultural lands could be redesigned to capture carbon more effectively, turning fields into carbon reservoirs while producing food sustainably. Advances in nanotechnology could further amplify these efforts. Tiny carbon-absorbing particles could be dispersed in the air or embedded in building materials, continuously capturing CO2 and converting it into stable compounds. Over time, every city, home, and structure could contribute to global carbon reduction. turning our built environment into an active participant in healing the planet. AI would play a crucial role here, constantly optimizing processes, predicting emissions hotspots, and ensuring maximum efficiency. The economic impact of this technology is equally transformative. Companies could profit from capturing and selling carbon in various forms, whether as raw materials for construction, fuels, or even advanced products like carbon-based electronics. Governments could implement carbon credit systems that reward both individuals and organizations for contributing to large-scale carbon reduction. By 2060, carbon could become not just a pollutant but a valuable resource, creating new industries and jobs while simultaneously saving the planet. And let's not forget the social and geopolitical implications, shaping global climate policies and strategies. Collaboration will be essential because climate change is a global problem, and no single nation can tackle it alone. The 2060 scenario imagines international networks of scientists, engineers, policymakers, and communities working together, sharing data and innovations in real time to maximize carbon removal. Yet despite all this optimism, the path forward requires careful planning. Mismanaged carbon capture could have unintended consequences, such as altering local climates or ecosystems. Experts caution that deployment must be strategic, backed by robust environmental monitoring and adaptive management systems. We must treat the planet as an interconnected system, understanding that changes in one area can ripple across the globe. The technology itself is only as good as the thoughtfulness of its implementation. The exciting reality is that the foundations for this future are already being laid today. Pilot projects in direct air capture, enhanced mineralization, and carbon utilization are growing in sophistication. Researchers are testing new chemical compounds, experimenting with AI-driven optimization, and exploring ways to integrate carbon capture into every aspect of human activity. Each breakthrough brings us one step closer to a world where climate reversal is not just a dream but a tangible, achievable goal. It's also worth noting the psychological impact of this vision. Knowing that reversing climate change is within our technological grasp could galvanize humanity to act decisively, inspiring new generations of scientists, engineers, and policymakers to focus on solutions rather than despair. Hope, when paired with capability, becomes a powerful driver of action. The idea that we could actively repair the planet rather than merely surviving its degradation could reshape culture, education, and societal priorities in ways we can only begin to imagine. By 2060, carbon capture could intersect with other emerging technologies in unexpected ways. Fusion energy, if it becomes viable, could provide nearly limitless clean power to drive these capture systems. Advanced robotics and autonomous machines could maintain and expand capture infrastructure with minimal human intervention. Even space-based solar collection could feed energy into terrestrial carbon removal efforts. In this vision, technology, ecology, and society are deeply intertwined, each enhancing the effectiveness of the other. Of course, technology is only part of the story. Policy, economics, and public engagement are equally critical. Governments would need to incentivize carbon capture, regulate emissions, and promote global cooperation. Public understanding and participation would be essential. People might install small-scale capture units in their homes or participate in community-driven carbon removal projects. This combination of top-down policy and bottom-up engagement could accelerate progress, ensuring that no one is left behind and that benefits are shared equitably. The potential for reversing climate change also raises philosophical questions about humanity's relationship with the planet. If we can heal ecosystems and restore balance, what responsibilities come with that power? How do we ensure that technological capability is used ethically and sustainably? These questions may be as important as the technology itself, guiding how societies deploy and manage these tools. In imagining the world of 2060, we're not just thinking about machines and chemistry, we're thinking about values, ethics, and stewardship. Looking ahead, one of the most compelling visions is a world where climate disasters are no longer inevitable. Cities once at risk of flooding could be stabilized. Coral reefs and forests could recover. Agricultural systems could thrive without being devastated by droughts and heat waves. Human health could improve as air quality rises and heat-related illnesses decline. Economies could grow without being undermined by environmental crises. This isn't wishful thinking, it's a scenario grounded in emerging science, projected trends, and the exponential potential of technological innovation. In this context, carbon capture becomes more than just a tool, it becomes a symbol of human ingenuity and resilience. It represents the possibility that, even after decades of environmental damage, we have the ability to turn the tide. It embodies a future where humans don't just inhabit the planet but actively nurture it, restoring ecosystems and creating a sustainable equilibrium. By 2060, the dream of reversing climate change could become a reality, transforming not only the environment but the way humanity views itself and its role on Earth. So, what can we do today to prepare for this future? Supporting scientific research, advocating for sustainable policies, reducing personal carbon footprints, and raising awareness about carbon capture and climate solutions all contribute to making this vision achievable. Each action, no matter how small, helps create the momentum necessary for large-scale change. By investing in knowledge, technology, and cooperation today, we lay the groundwork for a world where reversing climate change is not just possible but inevitable. As we imagine 2060's carbon capture technology, it's important to remember that this is not a distant fantasy, it's a trajectory that starts with choices we make now. Governments, corporations, communities, and individuals all have roles to play. By aligning incentives, embracing innovation, and committing to long-term environmental stewardship, we can create a world where the threat of climate change is no longer existential but manageable, and eventually, reversible. The story of carbon capture is ultimately a story of hope, innovation, and human determination. It challenges us to think big, act boldly, and harness technology for the greater good. It reminds us that even the most daunting problems can be addressed with creativity, science, and collective will. And perhaps most importantly, it shows us that the future is not predetermined, it is shaped by our vision, our choices, and our commitment to protecting the planet for generations to come. So, if you found this exploration inspiring, actionable, or thought-provoking, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more in-depth discussions on the future of science and technology, and comment below with your thoughts on how you think carbon capture could change the world. How do you envision a 2060 where climate change is reversed? Your ideas could spark the next wave of innovation. Together, we can imagine, create, and move toward a sustainable, thriving planet. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.